Hello everybody, Calabus here, and today we're going to be playing some Might and Magic 10 Legacy, where I've played a lot of the Might and Magic games. I've played 6 through 9 up to this point. I also played a lot of Heroes in Might and Magic, which is a little bit different. My favorite games of the series is Might and Magic 6 and 7, which they came out in 1998. We're going to be starting up the Might and Magic. This is going to be a little bit of a tutorial and just a little bit of a playthrough. So we're going to go ahead and get started. We're going to go to a new game. So you can either choose to select it on the normal mode, which is Adventurer, or you could go to the difficult mode, which is Warrior, where all the enemies are harder to kill, the equipment costs more money, so it's a little bit more challenging. For the playthrough, I think we're just going to do the regular setting of Adventure. And you gotta start off with a party. You can either create your own party from scratch. You could do a default party where they set up a party that's already made for you, or else you could randomly get a character party made for you. I think making the party is one of the funnest parts of the game, so usually always do manual creation. So choose that. So you get 4 characters in your party. Each one of these things is going to represent one of your characters. To start off with, you have to choose a race for your first hero. Based on the race that you pick, that's going to be the different classes that you pick. So we're going to just start off with the, let's see, there's the humans. They're kind of like the basic race. They get to start off with air resistance, and they get an extra. They get 4 free skill points. All the other races, they start off with 2 skill points, so humans get 2 more. So we're going to go ahead and choose a human for our first character. And once you choose your race, every race has 3 different classes or job types that they could be. Mercenary is kind of like the basic warrior for the humans. They got a bunch of sword and weapon strikes and attacks. The Crusader is kind of like a knight, kind of like a holy warrior, so they're not as strong weapon-wise as probably the Mercenary, but they have a little bit of healing to back them up. And then Free Mage is basically just the caster of the human race. Basically, they do all the spells and focus mainly on their magic. So for our first character, the guy who's going to be leading our party, we're going to do a Crusader. So we have a bit of a weapon attacker oriented kind of person, along with a little bit of healing for backup. So now we go to customization. For this part, you get to choose one of the 4 faces. You can either pick between 2 of the female characters, and it basically just changes their face. You got the black hair girl, or you could choose one of the 2 guys. I think our first guy is gonna be this guy. Go ahead and change his name. We'll put in Calabus, and then you can choose what his voice is. You could be heroic, cynical, and if you play the Might and Magic 6 games and 7, all those, you would recognize the voices. Like, you'd be like, hey, that's the same voice from the other games. Yeah, they use a lot of some of the sound effects for nostalgic reasons, I guess. Alright, so we got our face, we got our character's name. We're going to continue. Now we're going to skills. So basically, these are the skills that you could choose at the beginning of the game. Right now, I have 4 skill points. The things that are highlighted, these are the things that are basically the ones that he's going to get no matter what. It's his starting off skills, and then I highlight the ones that I want to add. So like if I wanted to add like a mace to it, I would click on it, and now one of my skill points are gone, and I could now have the mace selected. I could take it off, and then I get my skill point back, and I could put it somewhere else. But the starting out ones, you can't change. Like, he's going to have the sword no matter what, and he's going to have light magic no matter what. Now the lines, basically as you level up, you get skill points and you put it into your different skills to make them better. When you get up to a certain amount of skill points, you could then train that skill to make it better. Either you can make it go up to expert, master, or grandmaster. The lines on the arrows right here is the level that you could train it up to. Like if it's one line, that means you could get it up to expert level. If it's 2 lines, like the armor, you could get it up to master tier. And if it's 3 lines, you could get it all the way to the grandmaster tier, which is the best. So usually you're looking for skills that are going to have the grandmaster for your characters, because that means that they could make it the highest and make it the strongest. So we got the sword, we got the light magic. Let's give him armor for one of his. So he has heavy. So he's now capable of having heavy armor. Let's give him a shield, so he's a bit of a tank. So he has the shield now. Now we don't want him focusing on too much magic, so we're not gonna give him air, because we want him to be mainly weapons with a little bit of backup healing. So we're not really focused on any air magic for this guy. We could, for his last 2 things, I think we're gonna go ahead and give him. Now endurance is gonna let him have more hit points, so he could soak up more hit points. This is for dodging. This is really good for people that aren't going to be wearing heavy armor, but because my guy has heavy armor, I don't really need that. I don't need to get him a medium armor because he's going to be able to wear heavy armor. This is kind of like a tactics, kind of like your starting ability is challenge and shatter. It's kind of like a tanking kind of warrior kind of thing, and kind of taunts weaker creatures. I could choose either to add a mace, maybe a ranged weapon, but as you can see, ranged weapon only goes to the expert tier, so it's not that fantastic. These ones are kind of like caster abilities. This one is mysticism, and it's going to give you more magic points to spend more spells. This one is basically magic focus, which is going to give you more like spell power. It's going to make your spells stronger and more intense, and I think it increases the healing abilities. This one is kind of like magic resistance. It makes you be able to resist magical attacks and different kind of effects and stuff that would normally hit you if you don't have it. I think for this guy, we're not really worried about giving him too many magic points to start off with, or making his spells too strong. I think instead we're going to give him ability to do a little bit of range attacking, so he could attack creatures while they're far away and then smack them with the sword whenever they get up close. Alright, so I think we're all set for our skills. Let's continue. Now we're doing our attributes. So might is basically your physical damage, your melee damage. So the higher it is, the more your sword attacks are going to do. Magic is your magical powers, which is going to increase your spell damage and your healing, I believe. Perception is rain damage, and it increases your attack values, which are also increased. Destiny is your critical hit chances, so you have better chances to hit harder, and it increases your evade value, so you have better chance of dodging. Vitality is straight life, and spirit is straight mana. As you can see, my health right now is 82, my mana is 43. We're going to add some might so he's a little bit stronger. We're going to add 2 vitality to make his health a little bit higher. And not really focused on the magic, not really too focused on the range. It's really looking at the melee, the life, and let's go give him a little bit better chances at crit and a little bit of evade. So we got 10 might, 10 destiny, 11 vitality. And when you level up, you get skill points to put in these things too. So these things will be going up in the future. But I think Calabus is all set. There you go. Calabus is done. Alright, next, let's put an elf in the party. So elves, they're kind of the more fragile classes. They're graceful and more naturalistic. They start off with earth resistance, and then they're nimble, so they get bonus to their evade value, so they're harder to hit. They are fleet of foot. So let's go ahead, drop an elf into the party. So Blade Dancer is kind of like their finesse fighter. Probably good at dual wielding, as you can see in the picture. They both got 2 swords. Blade Master The advanced class is basically they can level up their class and become something stronger. So they start out as a blade dancer, and then when they make their class, they level up their class, they become a blade master. We got Cleave, Carnage. I think the Ranger is the range one, where you basically focusing on some, I think, air magic and your bow. And you could have a Warden when you advance your class, or you could go with the Druid. Druids are kind of like the casters for the elves. They're both the healer and the caster. They kind of do a lot of nature magic and stuff. When you level up, you could become a Druid Elder. I think we're gonna go ahead and get a caster for our elf. We're gonna try the Druid. Try to get all the magic in here. Alright, for our elf, I think we'll go ahead and make her a female. And we're going to give her silver hair. Why not? Let's give her silver hair. And her name is going to be... I always like the name Willow for like druid female nature caster, so Willow it is. And we could either give her a cynical voice,
not choosing me would be a big mistake.
Or heroic.
Choose me.
Choose me. I think we'll let her be heroic. She doesn't need to be a cynical druid, does she? She's a heroic druid. Let's continue down to skills. She only gets 2 skill points to spend, so we're gotta be a little bit more careful with what we choose for her to start out with. We got she's already gonna have water magic no matter what, and she's already gonna have earth magic no matter what, which is both things that she could get to Grand Master level. She could also get the primordial magic, but since she has 2 magics already, then we don't need to grab her a third one right now. But we do need to give her... We're not really worried about her armor too much. We'll get her some armor at some point, but right now she don't need to start out with it. I think we do want her to have more spell points, and she can get to Grandmaster level, so let's give her a little bit more of a spell thing. I believe Earth Magic also has some healing in it, so she could kind of do a lot of the healing. And now we want to give her a weapon so she isn't relying solely on only casting magic, because eventually she will run out of magic and then she'll become pretty useless. So it's like, let's give her a bow or spear or dagger, you know. Let's give her a little bit of a range thing. I'm not going to give her really any like might or anything, so she'll take a bow. So now she got her magic spell, she got something to give her a little bit more magic, and she got a weapon to use when she's not trying to use all her magic. So let's go to her attributes. Alright, we're not really worried about the melee damage she's ever going to be doing, so we're not worried about might. Magic makes her spell powers a little bit better. Not really worried about these ones. I think we're looking at giving her 2 vitality to make her health a little bit better. We're going to give her 2 magic to make her magic spells a little bit harder, and then to give her just a little bit more mana, we're going to put 1 into spirit. Alright, I think Willow is done. Next character. For the orcs, we'll look at their classes real quick. They're kind of like the strong barbaric type, but and they're kind of more, well, nomadic barbarians, I guess is a good way to describe them. So they were created by taking human slaves and criminals and injecting them with demon blood, so kind of semi-evil, I guess. And if you pick them, you can either choose between a barbarian, which is their big basic bruiser of a warrior. They got their hunters, which is kind of, it looks like they're kind of like a trapper, kind of like basic. And then their shamans is their caster, which is blood. They're special. They become a blood caller. Hunters become a marauder and become a warmonger. No, I think actually because I like having the extra skill points, and I need another caster. I don't want to make a shaman caster, so I'm actually gonna go to the humans again. And I think I would say the mercenary could come a windsword, Crusader will be a paladin. Free mage is the archmage. I think I'm going to need a mage in my group, so we're gonna add a mage. All right, let's make it a female mage. Let's give her black hair. Let's change her name to... I always like the name Chalice for females. We'll name her Chalice. She looks like a chalice. Why not? I already got 2 heroic voices, so let's give her...
Not choosing me would be a mistake.
Let's pick her a little bit of an arrogant mage. She's a little bit cynical. Let's give her that. Alright, so she has 4 skill points. She's already started off with the magical power. We're already started off with primordial magic, so we're gonna keep those. Alright, so far our paladin has light magic, our druid has water and earth. She has primordial, so let's give her air. And then because she could grandmaster dark magic, I guess we'll give her some dark magic too. There you go. Also, let's give her some more magic points to use, and give her one of her weapons. Let's give her dagger, bow. Let's just give her a crossbow. Alright, so she got 3 magic things to worry about. She got a bow. So far, I have every one of my magic things covered except fire, but the next person I'm going to make is going to be able to have fire, so we'll make sure all our magic skills are covered with our characters. Alright, so we are done with our... Let's go to attributes. Alright, again, we're not worried about her might at all on this. She's not really doing that physical damage. I mean, she's not starting off with a physical weapon. But we are going to give her another magic point. We want her health to be a little bit higher. Let's give her some more magic points. Let's give her some more mana too. So there you go. Now she got some mana. She's probably has less hit points out of everybody, but hey, that's the way it goes for mages. Alright, I think she's set. Let's go to our last character. Our last character, we're going to look at the dwarves. So we have 2 casters. We don't need a rune priest, which is the kind of the fire caster for the dwarves. Scout is kind of their archer, kind of they could become a pathfinder, rune lord. I think we're gonna go with a big heavy dwarven tank. Big heavy dwarven tank. I mean, for their races, they get fire resistance, and then they get 1 extra health per vitality point, so that makes them even more of a tank worthy class because they're going to have a huge lifeline. So we're going to make a defender. So we'll have a strong guy in the front, our 2 casters in the middle of the party, and then bringing up the rear will be our little tank. So I think we already have 2 girls, so we're going to have a guy. Do we want the blonde guy or the kind of guy with tattoos on his... I think we'll just take the little blonde guy. And dwarves are always cynical, so we're gonna take the cynical dwarf. Oh, actually, we wouldn't change his name too. We don't want it to be Leaf. What's a good dwarven name? Let's see. We're gonna go with Ragnar. That's a good dwarven name, right? Ragnar. His friends call him just Rag. There you go, Rag. Continue. Alright, skills. He already has a battle axe, and he already has shield for sure. Now he has 2 skill points left. We're gonna definitely give him armor, and we could either give him fire, which he could only get to expert level, or we could give him a crossbow. No, I don't have anybody with fire yet, but I could just not start out with fire, and then whenever they level up, I could give someone the fire spell, and I could give this guy warfare, so his starting abilities will be taunt or challenge and shatter, which will kind of keep all the creatures. I think challenge, it kind of taunts the creature into attacking you, so kind of keep all the creatures on him, and he's gonna have a huge lifeline. So this is actually probably pretty good to have. So I would do want him to kind of have, like, all my characters have range, but I think starting out, keeping all the monsters mostly on my dwarf instead of my casters is good. So we're going to go ahead and give him warfare. Also, he could get to grandmaster, so we'll keep it that. So no one's going to be starting out with the fire skill right off the bat, but when someone levels up, I'll give them some fire spells. Alright, let's continue. Alright, so he's not going to be really a ranged guy. He's going to be, his life you can see is already 103, which is a lot higher than everybody else's, but you can also see his mana's like super low. So we're going to might it up. And we're going to vitality it up. Give us some vitality. Do we want 3 points of might or prison 115? No, I think we'll just give him. We'll make it 14 and 13. Right? Yeah, I think that's fine. So he's kind of our beefy, tanky, huge lifeline. He should be doing a lot of the time saying, "Hey, fight me," instead of the other people. So there we go. I think our party's set. Our party is ready to rock and roll. So we're going to set it up. Alright, they give you one more chance to look over everything, look over your guys, look what their health is, so look at what their magic is. And we're ready to roll. And we're into battle. Alright, I'm not going to be really doing any gameplay this video. Instead,
What is the meaning of a dream?
we'll watch the dream.
Only Asher knows. Are they omens warning us of future tragedies? Distant memories dying in the deafening silence of the void? Or are they sometimes both? The death wish of some ancestor bargaining with the dragons that his legacy be carried on. Last night I dreamed such a clear vision of past events. Terrible things I had wanted to forget. They refused to fade away, demanding, pleading to be told one last time. This story begins with what we now call Uriel's deception. During the fabled Elder Wars, wars that once pitched the children of the light against the children of darkness. Uriel, the great archangel, had vowed to avenge his family, slaughtered by the greatest warrior and tactician of the Faceless, Erebos, the master of assassins. For centuries, Uriel, consumed by hatred, planned his revenge. Shortly before the second eclipse, Uriel and his inquisitors provided proof that the Faceless were plotting to rekindle the fires of the ancient wars. Emperor Liam Falcon, an ambitious man, easily enthralled by the Archangel's righteous determination, declared a holy war against the children of darkness. And Uriel's own brother, the Archangel Michael, esteemed and feared general of the ancient angel host, was brought back from the dead to lead the onslaught. But Uriel's plan had one fatal flaw. He underestimated the courage and resourcefulness of the humans he had set out to use in his machinations. There were some who saw through his lies, seeing Uriel's proof as clever fabrications. The murders and sabotages of which the Faceless had been accused were his own doing. Angels cannot lie, or so the saying goes, but there's nothing written saying that they have to tell the truth. Uriel escaped the justice of the courts, but not the judgment of the dragons. Uriel, Michael, and the Emperor Liam perished in the bloody fires of the second eclipse. But a legacy remained, continuing to poison the Empire. When the true extent of Uriel's deception was revealed, the scandal nearly ripped the once great and holy nation apart. Distrust grew between the Empire and its allies. Dissentful whispers could be heard throughout the hallways of the Imperial Court. And outside of the Empire's borders, the colonies and protectorates were clamoring for independence. In an effort to calm the troubled waters, Liam's heiress, the young Empress Gwendolyn Falcon, proclaimed a series of reforms that were immediately unpopular with the more conservative nobles. These tensions came to a head in the Aegean Peninsula. Once a jewel of the Falcon Crown, the great port of Carthal on the Savage Sea was threatening to secede and join the loose coalition of the Free Cities. Skirmishes were multiplying between the rebels and Imperial garrisons. Brigands were stalking the trade routes, and pirates were raiding the coasts. This is the story of a particular group of adventurers who had just set foot on the peninsula for the first time, on a quest to fulfill the dying wish of their mentor. They were called raiders, but would soon be known as legends.
Alright, well that was a nice and long intro to sit through. Now we can actually get to the game, I guess. Alright.
Let the name Raiders fool you. They were not mere brigands or adventurers only interested in glory and gold. They believed in a higher calling, an ideal of honor and courage. These values were the legacy of their mentor, Owen, a raider himself, and a veteran of the Battle of Hammer Fall.
Right, the narrator sure likes to talk, doesn't she?
In a way, it was also their mentor who had led them to the Aegean Peninsula. He had been a son of Carthage, and before his tragic death, he had asked his students to bring back his ashes to the city of his birth, to be buried next to his ancestors.
Alright, so my quest is to bring my mentor's ashes to his hometown.
To honor their master's wish, they boarded the first ship willing to take them to the west. As they disembarked in the small, peaceful harbour of Sorbigal by the sea, they could not suspect how far this journey was going to take them.
Oh, I suspect. I definitely suspect. Alright, we're not actually going to get into any gameplay this video. We're going to just look at some of the menus and stuff real quick to kind of get familiarized with it real quick. And then we'll probably end the video there, and then our next video will actually be us starting to play. So right here is our gold. Right now we have 200 gold. This is our food supplies. Whenever you rest or a day passes, you use up your food supplies. This is your inventory screen. We'll look at that in a second. This is our spell book. We'll also check that out. This is our journal. We'll look at that right now. So this is basically, it tells you where all your what all your quests are. Like you see all your quests, you could read the description. So if you don't want to stop and read every quest while they give it to you, you could come back and look at it. If you forget what you're doing, you could change pages if there's more. You also got the bestiary, so whenever you meet enemies, I guess you could get pictures of them, and if you have an enemy in your book, you can actually like look and see what they do. So that's actually gonna be cool, probably. And then lore, the Raiders code, could check stuff out. Just a little bit of extra reading for the game. Let's see, first rule, life is more precious than gold. Okay. The second rule, the price of life is life. Third rule, a share is a share. Okay, if you say so. Oh my god, they have so many rules. Alright, we might actually take the time to read that, but I won't do it right now on the video. We'll read the rules later. We'll make them up as we go, I guess. Alright, close the book. So these are your character faces. The one that's yellow is the one that you currently have selected. Like I could switch to the elf. I could switch to the mage, the dwarf. This down here is your bar, your action bar. You click on your things when you want to attack. Like if this is your melee attack, so you attack with your melee weapon. This is your range attack, if you wanted to do defense. And then you have your spells lit up and any items which you could drag onto here. These spots right here are for characters that join your party. The green bar is your lifeline, the blue bar is your mana, so that's his life, that's his mana, and if you just hold the thing over, it shows you how much in numbers it actually is. So it has 43 mana, 93 life. Over here we have the map, so the arrow is you, and you could click options here. This shows you what time of day it is. If you want to look at a bigger version of the map, you could see like the whole world map. So I don't know, I don't know if there's more. So this is where you're at, the little sword. And you can also look at the area map, which is actually this little thing down here, so you can actually see more. Alright, so that's the map. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the inventory and the magic screen. Let's go to inventory first. So the inventory is shared with everybody. So even if you switch characters, that doesn't actually change what your inventory is. So this up here, I believe, are blessings of the dragons. You have all the different dragons of the magic. So I guess if you at some point you meet dragons and they give you their blessing for some reason, it might give you bonuses. This says Axe, so I guess Axe is the story mode. So it's how far you are in the story. This right here shows the upgrade to the class. So whenever I change my Crusader into a Paladin, this will probably light up. My Druid becomes a Druid Elder. My Mage will become an Archmage, and my Dwarf will become a Shield Guard. Alright, so these are your item things. So these are your equipment slots. It shows that I currently have a sword equipped, and I also have a makeshift crossbow. I don't have any armor or items equipped starting out with. It also shows your health and stuff. It shows your attributes. When you level up, it'll give you a chance to level up your different attributes. Like right now it says points left 0. When you level up, you'll get points to spend. You can change from equipment to combat, and then you actually see what you're actually physically doing, like with your what kind of damage you're physically doing with your melee weapons, what kind of range, what your magical powers are. And then the inventory is just the inventory. So we'll get more into looking at this when we're actually playing the game. Right now, let's look at the spell book. Alright, so the spell book depends on who you have. So if I switch to the girl, I'll be looking at her, change to her spell book. Switch to Chalice, look at her spell book. Switch at Ragnar, see what spells they have. And this is also where you would drag like their stuff down. So these things are their passive abilities. This is his armor, he already has it on the board. Got the magic potions and his things. So, and then if you want to if you just want to, these are little tabs, so if you want to specifically look at only, like right now it's on all. If you only wanted to look at his actions, then you get rid of the spells and you only look at his physical actions. If you only want to look at his, well, his, I guess he doesn't have warfare, but, and then if you want to just look at only his magic, like only look at his air spells, only look at his light spells. Now he doesn't have air magic right now, and he doesn't have warfare, but those are things that he can learn. But right now I don't have any points in it, which I'll show you on skills, which is why they're like blue, because I can't actually do anything with them. So let's look at skills real quick. So whenever you level up, you're going to get skill points, and then you could just choose where you put it. Like right now I got the point in 1 point in novice. I believe you, to be able to train it to expert, you got to get it filled up to the expert thing. Right now I got like the 1 point in armor, and they tell you what it does too. Also, when you level up, like what's it going to go up by. I don't have anything in arcane discipline, but whenever I level up and get skill points, it's just as easy as putting 1 skill point into it. Then also, then I have it, or also I can't use a mace unless I put 1 point into it. So I got the light magic. I don't have any air magic, but when I level up, I could put 1 point into it. Then that little air magic could be done. So that's just looking at, if you only want to look at your weapon skills, if you only want to look at miscellaneous skills, and then if you only want to look at your magic skills, you click on these different tabs, but you just look at all of them. And I think that's pretty much it as far as just showing you around the different screens. You see everybody's different magic, different skills. When we level up, we'll see how that goes and see how to put points in different places. But I think we got a good base to start off the game with. We got our characters. Got Calabus, Willow, Chalice, and Ragnar. And I think we're okay to start. You could look around with the arrow keys, or you could use the WASD keys. You use the spacebar to talk. It looks like we just got off the boat, and there's a guy there that we could talk to, or else we could go into the city. But right now we're going to go ahead and call the video here. Our next video is actually going to be us venturing into the city and picking up quests and starting the gameplay. So we're looking forward to doing that. But for now, I have been Calabus along with my party of adventurers. This has been Might and Magic 10. Thank you for watching, and we'll catch you next time.